Assalamu alaikum, namaste, shalom and good day. You are listening to Awaz Community Radio. And today our guest will be from Marriage Care. Now, if you want to get in touch with us, you can email us on awazcommunityradio@gmail.com or give us a call on 0161 839 9817. Catch us on Facebook, just type in Awaz Community Radio or tweet us at Awaz Radio 122. Thank you for listening to Awaz Community Radio with your host today is Saira, and my guest from today is from Marriage Care called Deirdre. Hi Deirdre.
Hi Sarah, nice to meet you.
And lovely to meet you too. We've been having a lovely little chat, haven't we, before the radio?
We did indeed, thank you for that.
So can you tell our listeners a little bit about what Marriage Care is and what it does?
Yes, Marriage Care is a charitable organisation, and we operate with volunteers in over 50 centres across England and Wales. We have about 700 volunteers, and the charity was established in 1946 after the Second World War and in response to family pressure and family relationships at that time. So the world has changed quite a lot in the past 60 or 70 years, but the need for support and education and help in the relationship field has remained largely the same.
And can you tell us how Marriage Care helps couples in relationships?
Marriage Care is the second largest provider of relationship support counselling in England and Wales, and we support couples and individuals in the best and worst of times in their relationship. And we believe very strongly that healthy relationships make for better lives and therefore more stable families and a stronger society. And we provide our services to everyone regardless of faith. So we on a day-to-day basis, we walk with couples through the journey of their relationship. And that might be from the heady days of young love to the challenges of bringing up a family, to midlife problems and issues, and maybe old age as well. And we offer our relationship support through two main service areas. Those are marriage preparation and relationship counselling. The marriage preparation is like an investment in the future of the relationship, and amid the excitement of a couple planning the wedding, we would aim to try and help the couple understand relationships, their own in particular, by taking a closer look at issues within their relationship in a safe and supportive environment. And over the past year, Marriage Care has prepared around something in the region of 3,000 couples for marriage across England and Wales. And we really enjoy working with engaged couples because that it allows us to help them, but it also gives us an opportunity to think about our own relationships and what we're doing at home to keep our relationships alive. On the relationship counselling side, it's really for anyone who feels that they could benefit from a dedicated professional support. And we understand how easy it is for relationships to become a source of conflict and distress. And timely support can be a real help for couples. The volunteer counsellors have gone through quite rigorous training, and they are engaged in ongoing supervision of their work as well.
So what's your role within Marriage Care, Deirdre?
Within the organisation, I'm a qualified relationship counsellor, and I also deliver the marriage preparation courses that we've talked about. And in the Manchester area, I also manage the local centre. So in a space of a week, to give you an idea of the sort of things that I might be involved in, I could be delivering marriage prep courses, I might be counselling clients, I might be supervising other counsellors, I might be attending or chairing meetings, reviewing applications and interviewing potential volunteers, or promoting our services. I have to say I really, really love the work that I do, and I feel very privileged to walk beside so many couples, to journey with them through the best of times and the worst of times in their relationships. And really, the most beautiful thing is to witness the magic of love and how that turns pain and sorrow for people into real joy. It's also very humbling to know that in some very small way I'm contributing to a better future for those families and for the men and women who will shape our lives tomorrow.
And can I ask, why is it that couples have more arguments at Christmas?
Well, as we all know, Christmas is traditionally a time for family and friends to get together, but families are under more and more pressure these days to have what we might call the perfect Christmas. You only have to look at media images or magazines to see beautifully dressed women, calm, smiling mothers, taking perfectly cooked meals out of spotless kitchens while their children play quietly in a really tidy lounge. And unfortunately, that raises quite often very unrealistic expectations for couples. And when things don't quite go according to plan, we turn to the person closest to us, which is usually our partner, and they get the worst of it. So if you add into that equation the mix of a house full of relatives, some of them you might like, some of them you really struggle with, and the financial demands of the season, it's easy to see why December is often a peak month for family arguments. And according to some recent research, the average couple has about 4 rows a day during the month of December. That's really quite a lot, isn't it? And over a space of a month, that can add up to 120 odd arguments over the month. So things can get quite tetchy. But when we think about who to spend Christmas with, it sounds like a really simple question, but it can actually be really complicated, and it can cause a lot of stress and tensions within families and within couples. And it is an issue that comes up a lot in the counselling room, and it impacts families right across the board, from the newlyweds who are trying to decide which family to spend their first married Christmas with, to the step families, or blended families as we sometimes call them, where there may be competing agendas, and especially when children are involved. So if you add on top of that families that are just getting by financially, or maybe struggling to make ends meet, and in light of Christmas advertising and expectations that can bring huge financial pressure to impress people or buy gifts that they really can't afford, then you've got a perfect catalyst for major arguments, stress and debts that can drag on into the months of the new year.
That's very true. Now, what advice do you have for couples who might be arguing more than usual? I mean, that's 120 arguments a month. When you first said that figure, I was shocked. But then I thought about it, not so much. It does sound actually quite pretty much what was going on really with a lot of people, sadly. So what kind of advice would you give to couples who are arguing more and feeling the strain this Christmas?
Well, at Marriage Care, we'd really like to encourage couples to step back for a moment, take a little breather, take some time out, and maybe reconsider their approach to Christmas. This perfect idea, whatever it might be, it's not really possible for most families, and it would be, we would try and ask families to think about what they could change that might reduce the pressure, and allow them to maybe have a little bit more fun. So Marriage Care would like to encourage all couples to factor in some quality time for their partner. We often overlook the person closest to us, and we often, as parents, we often overlook ourselves. So we've just not factored any couple time into the equation at all. So maybe try to find some ways to create special memories, just fun times, special memories, or even new family traditions. Sometimes in terms of finances, it might help with finances, presents, and trying to manage to spend. It can be quite helpful to think about how much you can actually afford before you go buying everything under the sun. To think about how much you can afford to spend on each gift, and then really stick to a budget. Some families find it helpful if you come from a large family or you just can't afford to buy for everyone. You might consider working out some kind of a family arrangement that would be helpful. So for instance, things like some families might decide that each adult will only buy one other adult a present. That way everybody's covered, and they maybe set a value on it so that nobody ends up hugely out of pocket. Or in some families, they may decide that they just buy for the children. And those kind of ideas can prevent some of the major arguments and reduce the stress and the burden of debt that often hangs over people well into the new year. So then if you look at things like, who do we host, or how many invites we respond to, maybe try and be realistic and understand that you simply just cannot, you just can't please everybody all of the time. And rushing around trying to fit in, loads of visits on Christmas Day, it just ends up that you get stressed and you probably don't enjoy yourself at all. So maybe you can limit some of the visits on Christmas Day and think about, maybe time that you could have set aside for somebody on Christmas Eve or Boxing Day, or maybe the weekend before or after Christmas, or maybe even the New Year. If there are really difficult family relationships or people that are quite challenging, you might try and find some time to connect with those people and to talk it through and to listen to all parties. Discussing things maybe on a neutral territory might give you a better chance of a positive outcome, and maybe even thinking about introducing change gradually so that it doesn't it's not received as a great shock to anybody. Sometimes minor differences can be accepted more easily, and bit by bit they end up becoming part of the new way of doing Christmas for your family. And it is okay actually to recognise that you can take control of Christmas arrangements and not just stick to the same routine, and maybe even think about next year and perhaps set time aside so that you maybe talk about things as a family sooner rather than later, about what is doable for you, so that you've got a chance to canvass more opinions and probably come to better decisions as a result.
Thank you for listening to Awaz Community Radio with Saira, my guest Deirdre from Marriage Care. Now, Deirdre, can you tell us, why is January a peak time for divorces?
Sadly, January is a peak time for divorce, and statistics would say that 3 times the monthly average number of people actually contact a family lawyer in the month of January. And marriage care support centres nationwide expect to receive a surge in calls for couples experiencing relationship difficulties following the festive period every year. And if you think about that, it kind of makes sense, because having spent a long and perhaps stressful holiday break with the children and the in-laws, coupled with the notion that a lot of people kind of want to make a fresh start come the new year, and it's often ends up that this is the last straw for many couples whose marriage might already have been in difficulty, and many will choose the first day back at work to start to investigate divorce proceedings, and it has, believe it or not, been nicknamed D-Day by lawyers for that reason.
Why should couples think twice before getting divorced?
We think couples should think twice before they begin divorce proceedings, because it's often, people are responding emotionally, but it's often much more costly, financially and emotionally painful than people actually anticipate, and it's not always the right decision for everyone concerned. In many cases, in spite of what people think and how bad they're feeling at the time, it isn't too late to save the marriage, and counselling can and really does make a significant difference in many relationships. So independent research would show that 50% of separated couples felt that there were more things that they could have done with hindsight to prevent their breakup, and sadly they wish that they had done more of those.
It's such a huge step, and it's not one you can take lightly, is it? So how can marriage care help couples who are considering divorce?
So we're urging couples, we would urge couples who are considering divorce to get in touch with us and give their relationship a second chance. If you just ask yourself the question, what have you got to lose? Marriage care has brought many marriages back from the brink of breakdown. And what we find is that many couples are reluctant to seek help. They may be a bit embarrassed about it, or they may feel that they've tried everything. But maintaining a marriage and solving problems within a relationship really takes quite advanced skills, and very few of us are naturally equipped with these skills. We may think that we're doing everything that we can, or that we've done everything we can to solve problems, but a trained marriage counsellor can really be a great benefit in helping couples find a better way to solve problems, and maybe find new ways of being able to meet each other's needs, things they hadn't thought about before. So we are the second largest provider of relationship counselling services in England and Wales, with many, many years' experience. And we're here to support couples and individuals, regardless of faith, through the best and worst times. And we believe that healthy relationships do make better lives for people. It builds more stable families and therefore a stronger society.
That's really well put. I mean, I think it's, like you said, it's such a difficult time for couples, the season that is nearly upon us. And I'm so glad that you've come on the radio to discuss, ways to help keep families together and give people a chance. And perhaps a mediator, sometimes a sort of neutral person, which is what you are, the counsellor.
Exactly right.
Perhaps that can be the sort of neutral zone that couples need. That's
it. Sometimes it just really helps to take the pressure off, because when they're you get into a difficult place, and he blames her and she blames him and vice versa, but actually having a third person there can kind of help you see things in a different way, and you can understand that actually both people are maybe trying to do the very best they can, and they just need a little help in order to be able to see that.
So how can people get in touch with Marriage Care? If there are people out there listening now, and as this will be playing over the Christmas season, if they're having issues and they think they might be one of those people that's thinking about divorce come January, come D-Day, as you said, how can they avoid spending so much in lawyers' fees? And how can they keep their families together? How can they try to get support for their relationship?
Okay, so we have a website, and we have a lot of information on there. That's probably a good place to contact us. Our website is www.marriagecare.org.uk. That's www.marriagecare.org.uk, and they can call us at our call centre number 0800 389 3801. That's 0800 389 3801.
Fantastic. I would like to say a huge thank you to you, Deirdre, for coming in and talking about this great organisation that you volunteer with, Marriage Care. I think organisations like this are so important to trying to create a more peaceful society. You know, we're all about the cohesion and respect and so on. And I think if there's families out there struggling, we definitely recommend them to seek help. You know, please don't leave it till it's too late. And that applies whether it's money worries, relationship worries. And I guess at this time of year, you're hearing a lot about if you've got money worries, contact this number, which is great. I'm really glad. But I have to admit, I don't think I've seen very much in terms of if you have relationship problems. And
That's
perhaps
right.
our communities should be thinking about this a bit more.
Yes. It's a minefield for relationships around Christmas and New Year with all the issues we've talked about. And we're delighted if people pick up the phone, give us a ring, come on the website, leave an email. Somebody will always get back to you.
And help is just one phone call away.
That's right. So thank you very much, Saira, for inviting us in today. And may we wish you and all your listeners a very happy Christmas and a happy New Year.
And from all at Oise Community Radio, Merry Christmas to you at Marriage Care and a Happy New Year too.
Thank you.
So this has been a really interesting show for everyone. If you would like to get in touch with us about what's been discussed today, please do give us a call on 0161 839 9817. You can catch us on Facebook, just type in Oise Community Radio, tweet us at Oise Radio 122, or give us an email, oisecommunityradio@gmail.com. Have a great holiday, keep safe and stay happy.